So, going through your tracker. So, your first tab should be the profile tab. Now, for any guys who have still got the instructions examples one, that was something that I put in at the start, but I thought I was deleting it by hiding it, but apparently it's still on some of the yours. So, if you just right click on the tab and just delete it off, so I'm deleting it off this master copy so it won't be on anybody's in future, we're just going to get rid of that because we don't need it. You can keep it there if you want. It's just explaining how to fill out the habit tracker bit, but really you don't need it. So what you should be met with on your first tab is your profile tab. Now this is where obviously all your details are going to go in, but more importantly, your goals are going to go in here. And if at any point you want to increase the amount of goals, then you would just increase the amount of rows that you've got. So for anybody that didn't see that, you would just go to, so we right click on the wee number and then insert row above or below, it doesn't matter. Click that, and then if you want multiple, control and just tap Y, 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 Y. And if you've done too many, control and Z just to get rid of some. So you can edit that as much as you want. So we're going to stick the goals in there, and they could change from month to month, week to week, depending on obviously what we're doing. But mainly the overall goals will go in there. What you're currently finding difficult and your obstacles will go in this wee section here. Just a quick wee note just before I move on to the things that you're going to be focused on week to week. This is how to enter in all of your stuff that you've got coming up into your wee, it's basically a countdown thing. So if you've got any holidays coming up, then you would just pop that in there and then you would change the date. So the way that these cells are formatted, and they're formatted all the same way, is you would type in, if you wanted the 19th of September, instead of putting in 19.923, which won't work, that'll make the formula incorrect. So the way it's formatted is 19, you can type in the full word of September and then 23, and then it'll come straight up. Or you type in 19 Sep 23, hit enter, and then it'll do exactly the same thing. Alright, so if you get anything coming up that you want to stick in there, put it in, because that's going to be a dead handy tool for you to see how many days and weeks you've got coming up to that event. Because when it's in a calendar, you don't really appreciate how long you've got, but if you've got something counting you down all the time, you can see how long you've got, what you've got to do by then. And even if you want to use it for your own organisation, like say if you've got somebody's birthday coming up and you need to buy a present and you want to make sure that it's bought in enough time, whack it in there, use it. This is meant to make your life easier. So if you want to put in anything that's non-training related, stick it in there, use it. I'm quite happy for you to do that. Final wee edit, I promise. So I forgot to talk about the check-in form. So check-in form to be completed every single week, and ideally every Saturday or Sunday, so that I've got it over the weekend and so that I've got it into the sessions in the week to discuss or check-in calls. So you're going to hover over your link, you're going to click on that, and it's dead easy. You're just going to work your way through the questions. I want you to be as descriptive as you can, so ideally no one-word answers if you can help it. Just because I need to read these, I need to find out exactly what's been happening in your week, so that when we're discussing them, I've got solutions ready. If there's any one-word answers, or if you're not descriptive about how your week's been, then I can't help you, and I can't help you well, or I'm going to end up asking the same questions again. So the whole point of this is to try and save us both time, so that I've got all the information in front of me, so that I can come with solutions ready, so that we're not waiting and wasting time. Alright, so you're just going to make your way through these questions, answering them as best as you can, and then once you're done, you just click the submit button, nice and easy, and it goes straight to me. And anything that we are going to focus on from week to week is going to go in here. So I would put the date in, and then we would just, whatever says, focus on tracking calories. I do 4 workouts for the week, etc., etc. So I'll then ask you how things have went. If they haven't been done, they will go in a red. And this is just a visual tool, just so that you can see how you're getting on. I don't want you to think of it as good or bad, but more so it's for me and easiness sake of reading it. So if say we've done that in green, if we've done it, so, and then sorry, if it's say, I don't know, meal prep. If you have, sorry, if we've still got that going, I'm just going to pop them in orange, which means that they're pending, so that I know that you're working away at them. Or I've not to ask you yet because it's not obviously time because a week hasn't elapsed. So if it's sitting in orange, we're working on it. If it's sitting in red, we've not done it. If it's sitting in green, we have. And that's just going to be a very handy tool just so that you can see visually how you're getting on. Now, that will be amplified, or sorry, magnified in the habits section. So in your next tab, you've got your actual habit tracker. So if these things here are part of what you're going to be doing every single week anyway, then it would arguably be better or easier to use the tracker. So if this is something that you're going to be using or doing every single day, every single week, or multiple times a week, doesn't need to be all. So track calories, meal prep, and then 4 gym sessions. Now, say tracking calories, we'll just pull them back up. So say tracking calories. Now, I don't want anybody, it depends obviously how you want to work this, but I don't want anybody tracking calories every single day just because it's time consuming and monotonous. So I'm going to try and get people to do it as little as often. So say you're going to track your calories on when you were cooking, say on a Saturday. So we'll just click that. And then if you were cooking again, say on a Thursday, then that's it. Now, if you want to see this white ring start to fill up with the amount of percent that you've completed on your tasks, if you've got something that you're only doing 2 or 3 times a week, but you want to see that wee ring start to fill up, then just tick the boxes on the days that obviously you're not doing it, but just so that you can see that fill up. If not, if you're not going to be using the percent completed or the ring being closed, then just uncheck them. And then you're just going to use that as a visual reference so that you can see how you're getting on. So you know if you were doing them twice in a week, they 2 boxes are ticked, perfect, done. If you're doing meal prep, that's done on a Saturday, done. And sorry, on a Thursday. And then your 4 gym sessions, say they were here, 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 and here. So again, done. So that you can see each week whether you're getting better or whether you're not. So say we miss the tracking calories on the Thursday. Say we do this and we do that, and say we don't get the 4 workouts in. So you can see from week to week where your strong areas are starting to show and where your weaker areas are starting to show. And then that means that anything that you are lacking on consistency wise can be brought straight up. And then the next week, it's just a good visual tool so that in the next week you can then reset and say, right, I'm going to nail these, I'm going to get that ticked off, and I'm going to do them. All right, so next tab is going to be your measurements and calorie calculator. So I'm just going to zoom out of this just so you can see it a wee bit better. So all of these values in your master copy are just going to be example ones. It's just so that I could show you how it would look. Also, we'll talk about the figures in a minute. But I've made a graph so that you can see how your total weight is doing. So if, for example, you need to change the values, now 9 times out of 10 I'm going to be doing this, but say you want to know how to change the values of this graph, you'll double click on the graph, and all you have to do is go to the vertical axis, which is going to have the minimum and maximum number. So say, for example, I'm just going to set these totally wrong so that it goes to something that doesn't really look good, so you can't really see any fluctuations in that. So whatever your highest recorded weight is, you would put that in. So I can't remember. Let's see. I think highest there's 92. So we stick in the 92, and the lowest we're going to go for, I can't see the end, is, let's just go 70. So you can then see it's a much more accurate, and even if you wanted to bump that up a wee bit, where do we finish? About 79-ish, so we'll do 75. So you can see a much more accurate representation of what your weight's doing. So if like it's been set up, for example, in the master copy for these numbers, and then you enter your numbers in and it goes all higgledy-piggledy, you just double click, go to vertical axis, so just get rid of the grid lines and ticks. So vertical axis, scroll down, and then put in the minimum, which is going to be the lowest. If you don't know obviously what the lowest is going to be, you just set it to something that's say 10, 20 kilo below what you're currently at, and put your max weight as being the highest weight. But again, 9 times out of 10 I'll take care of that for you, but it's just in case you like to go in and have a wee footer about with it. So your body fat calculator is here on the left hand side. Now if you click that blue link, it's then going to come up with the actual link which you would click and it would take you to the website. So we're just going to do that just now to show you how to use it. So the values that it's going to ask you are already in the table. So you'll need to know your height in centimeters and your age and weight, and then some of the measurements which again are in here. So 35, 120 and 130. So you're not going to use US units, you're not going to use other, you're going to use the metric units. So for everyone, I've been using the female setting because I used it on one of my male clients, and because it only asks for the neck and the waist, it's like it was really inaccurate. So I just think I don't get how it could give you an accurate reading from two measurements, one being the neck and one being the waist. So just having another measurement in there, I've found it's a lot more accurate in terms of the body fat percentage. It's never going to be 100%, but again, it's just a guide. So let's say this person's 30, their weight is 96 kilo, their height is 178, we'll just keep that there. So neck was 30, then it was 120, and then it was 130. So that's brought the person out at 58.6%, which for the purpose of this, I'm just going to change. So we're going to bring those measurements down, because normally it will give you a wee graph that it'll show you. So that's better. So because it was so high percent body fat, it didn't register obviously as being within its range. So you can see where you're at in terms of body fat percentage. Now again, it is not 100% accurate. It's only going to give you a guide. So what we are looking for now to enter into your table is the body fat percent, which is here, the body fat mass, which will go in the row underneath that. So you'll just enter 28.4. And then underneath that, you'll put your lean body mass, which is going to be 66.6. And then from there, that gives you a good idea of what's happening with your body fat percentages, because your weight could actually be going up, but your measurements are coming down, and you're just going to have to take my word for that everything's going well. And I obviously want you to know that things are going well and have the data in front of you so that you can see it for yourself. So if your measurements are coming down, but your weight's actually going up, it'll show down here in these three figures, and it'll actually show you, you know what, my body fat's actually going down, but my lean mass is going up, which means that you're then putting on additional muscle mass, which is making you heavier on the scales. So anytime that happens, we've got an answer. You can see the figures in front of you. And then your last bit is just going to be your calorie calculator. So we're just going to hover over that and then click on the link. And then again, it's the same website, same calculator. We're just going to enter in a different value. So age 30, and again, it doesn't matter male or female now, you put in actually what you are. So male or female, height 178, weight 65, and then the amount of activity that you're going to do. So your basal metabolic rate is you lying on a bed, not moving at all. That's how many calories your body burns at rest, just to keep you alive, just to work your organs, beat the heart, blah, blah, blah. What your sedentary is little or no exercise. So that's if somebody was like doing a sedentary job and then they went home and they sat all day. They didn't do any other activity. Your light exercise is 1 to 3 gym sessions a week or workouts a week, depending on what you do. Moderate would be 4 to 5, and then anything over this. I don't normally do this for anybody unless they are genuinely, like they play like quite a vigorous sport, as well as doing any kind of gym work or any kind of workouts. But generally speaking, the gym workouts that we are talking about and any additional activity, whatever you're going to be doing, that's what you stick in. So if you know you're going to be going to the gym 4 times in a week, then we're going to click that one, and then we're just going to hit calculate. So for anybody losing weight or actively trying to get leaner, I'll always put somebody on this wee section here of calories, and that brings you out at a pound loss a week. Now, it never normally happens like that. It tends to be either more or less or whatever, but that tends to be the calories that we want, because a pound a week is very sustainable. If we go into the extreme weight loss section, which again, that's not extreme weight loss, but it is very low calories. So you can see that obviously there's a 500 calorie difference there. So that's when you're trying to be in a calorie deficit. So if you ever hear anybody talking about a calorie deficit, you want to be in deficit of 500 calories per day for 7 days a week, because that equates to 3,500 calories in total, and that is the amount that 1 pound of solid body fat, that's not including any other water retention, anything like that, so 1 pound of solid body fat equates to 3,500 calories. So this extreme weight loss is bringing you down into an 1,000 calorie deficit. So I hope that makes sense. So right now, the pound a week loss calorie amount is bringing you out at a 500 calorie deficit from the amount of calories it would take you to remain exactly the same. So based on you going to the gym 4 times a week, you eating 2,370 calories per day, every single day for 7 days, roughly obviously, will make you maintain your weight. You won't gain any, you won't lose any. Eating 1,817 calories will equate to a pound loss per week, and then this would put you into 2 pounds a week. Now, if that's appealing to somebody listening to this thinking, oh, well, that sounds great, I'm going to go for that, those calories are too low. That person will burn out very, very quickly, and it's not sustainable. The sustainable number, and I've been doing this for long enough, I've been doing this now 11 years, is this one here. And then we can, so I want you to keep your calories as high as possible at all times while losing the maximum amount of weight. If we take you down this much at the start, you're on a downward spiral in terms of energy, or lack of, motivation, reparation of muscle, recovery, everything goes down if you start somebody too low too quickly. And what happens is when you start somebody too low too quickly, they end up binging and they end up just eating the calories back anyway because they were absolutely starving. So that is the amount of calories that we want. After that is your program section. So in here, if you're seeing this program, it's just an example program. It's just what I've flung in just to give somebody an idea what they're going to be using. And then after that, that's the 4 tabs that you need. So profile, your habit one that's specific to the month that you're on, your measurements and calorie calculator, and then your program. Anything after this is just the habit tracker for that specific month. So this one looks a wee bit different to the July one. So what I've done with the July one is I've just made habits and I've taken away the morning, day and evening habits. You can keep that format if you want, if you find that that's going to keep you more regimented. I've found it's easier just to take them out. So what you would do is you would just hold that in, drag that down, and then you would just right click and delete the rows. From there, you're then just going to add rows back in again. So you're just going to right click again, you're going to insert row above, and you're just going to control Y for as many times as you need to. And then if that wee bit's annoying you, which it absolutely is for me, we're just going to copy that. So you can either right click and copy it, or you can just hold in Control, tap C, and then just drag up, and then Control V, or right click and then paste. So now I would just change that to habits. And again, just because I like it being nice and neat, the alignment up here, we're just going to put it to the center. So that's you now got. So you can take them, see if you've only got 4 things that you need to do in a week, then just take these rows away. If you've got more, if you've got like 20 things, because like I want you to use this not only for your training, but for your day-to-day life and for your week. So housework, shop, like food shopping, anything that is going to keep you regimented, I want in here. And you can be dead organized, and you can see what you've not done, you can see what's coming up, and it's just a really good tool to keep you organized. And then last bit, so we'll just scroll all the way down again, the months that we're not using. And then you're going to get to the yearly goals, which again, I've kept in for anybody who decides to use that. So it's just, again, it's just something else that if you want to add in, you can. But the year selector for anybody, so if anybody's listening to this and it's now a different year than 2023, then you would just go in, pop that wee arrow, and you would just click on whatever year you're on, because the habit trackers are set up for how many days specifically are in our correct months. So if you had this in the wrong year, then all the days are going to line up wrong with what you're actually doing. All right. And then this form responses, which will still be in people's trackers, I'm just going to leave there because that can't be deleted because it's linked to a check-in form, but none of the check-in form responses come into this one anymore. I've made a separate sheet for it, so don't worry about that, just leave it. So if you want to move these about, you can just drag and you can move wherever you want, But what you're going to have to do when your July habits is finished, we're just going to move that down and we're just going to bring the August one up. Now, I've only brought that there just because it's more organised, but you can order this as neatly or as unneatly as you want. But yeah, that's what you're going to do. All right, so that is your tracker. I hope that helps everyone. If you get any questions, please do let me know.